BTR 8266, air 81766. Take one.
My name is Victoria Winters. The gray light of morning has come again to Collinwood, and the strange sounds of the night should seem thousands of miles away. Yet I can still hear it in my mind, the helpless crying that filled the shadows of the great house on Widow's Hill, crying that had drawn me down musty stairs to a strange and forbidding door.
Looking for something, miss?
Oh, Matthew, I didn't know anyone was down here.
What do you want in there?
Nothing. I just was wondering what was in there.
Thought I heard Miss Stoddard tell you to stay out of this basement.
I came down to get some books for David. He said they were here.
Ain't any books in that room, miss.
I didn't think so, but I thought while I was here I might give it a try.
You want books. Cartons full of them in that corner. If you'll take my advice, miss, you'll get what you want and go back upstairs before Miss Stoddard finds you here. Over there, miss. Not in that room. Find what you're after, miss?
Not yet. He said that there were some Rover boys booked down here in a cart, and you wouldn't know where they were, would you?
No. I'm going upstairs now. You better come, too.
It's all right. I'll come up as soon as I've found them.
Miss Stoddard wouldn't like you being down here by yourself.
What she thinks I'm going to do, run into a ghost?
I don't read her mind, miss. I just know what she wants, and I do it. So you better get those books of yours and come upstairs with me. Unless books wasn't the only thing you're after.
Matthew, do you believe in ghosts?
What's that got to do with books?
Well, you've worked here for a long time. Have you ever heard any sobbing in the night?
Josette Collins. That's who you're talking about, isn't it?
You don't actually believe that her ghost still cries here, do you?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the sound?
Never been in this house late enough at night. But she's here, all right. You can feel her. You can feel all of them, and don't try to tell me you can't.
My first night here, I heard the sobbing. And I heard it again last night. I thought it came from down here in the basement, so I followed the sound down to here. And, well, I'm not sure, but I think it came from behind that door.
Best thing for you to do when you hear that crying is to stay in your room.
But what's in that room?
It's a storeroom.
Do you have a key for it?
That's what you come down here for, to do some more snooping, not for books.
I came down to find books for David.
Miss, the first day I met you, I warned you about sticking your nose in where it didn't belong. There's lots of closed-off rooms in this house. They stay closed, Miss Winters. To you and anybody.
I can't believe that sound was made by a ghost.
You believe what you want to. You better believe this, too. I'm not letting anybody dig up problems for Miss Stoddard, not you or anybody else. Not while there's anything I can do to stop it.
How can my asking about that room make trouble for her?
I don't know. All I know is she gave orders for you to stay out of this basement. So you better forget about those books and...
Matthew, are you in the basement?
Yes, ma'am. I'm collecting some of these old newspapers.
Leave that for now and come upstairs. I want to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am. Be right up. You want to know about that room, you ask Miss Stoddard. She's the only one with the key. But you take my advice. Be like me. Do your job and don't ask any questions. About anything.
A mystery story, I'll bet.
Well, hello. As a matter of fact, it is, in a way. Well, what is the lovely Miss Stoddard doing down from her hilltop castle so early in the morning?
Oh, I wanted to get something in the early mail. Then I thought I'd drop in for coffee.
I'm delighted that you did.
Well, aren't you going to ask me to join you?
Are you sure it's safe?
It was safe enough last night for Vicky Winters, wasn't it? I'll just have coffee, thank you.
Not even a donut? I've already ordered breakfast. I hate to eat while you're...
Oh, I shouldn't. But I will. Okay, a donut.
Susie, coffee and donut for Miss Stoddard, please. Now, if you'd explain why you're...
Count of Monte Cristo. I thought only kids in school read this.
Well, when I was in school, I didn't have much time for reading. It's a good book.
Oh, I remember. The rich, handsome man of mystery returns to take revenge on... Say, you wouldn't be the Count of Monte Cristo, would you?
No, but I'm starved. Thanks.
Burke Devlin, sent to prison by the cruel Collins family, returns to wreak revenge upon them.
Do you think that's why I'm here?
Matter of fact, I don't. Unless you have deep, dark designs on my little cousin's governess.
That's the second time you've mentioned Miss Winters. I think you're trying to tell me something.
Miss Winters? Do you mean she had dinner with you in your hotel room last night? And you still don't call her Vicky?
I'll get around to it. Just give me time.
I don't think I will.
What?
Give you time.
Here's a list of the supplies we need. I hope you can read my writing.
Always have, Miss Stoddard.
I haven't been too steady the past few days.
Yeah, since Burke Devlin come back. I don't like that man, Miss Stoddard. I don't like what he's doing to you. Without even mentioning what he almost did to Mr. Collins.
He hasn't done a thing to my brother.
If you say so, ma'am. I'll go into town right now and get these things.
Matthew, wait. Come inside, please. Close the doors, please. Burke Devlin was not responsible for my brother's accident.
Then who was?
You were, Matthew.
Ma'am?
There was a part of a brake cylinder loose on my brother's car. You knew it. You were supposed to have it fixed several times. You didn't. So it fell off.
But that's not true, Miss Stoddard.
I know it isn't true. But if anyone asks, that's the story I'd like you to tell.
But why?
Because it's a story I told the police.
I just plain don't understand, Miss Stoddard. Why tell a lie like that when we all know it was Burke Devlin?
It wasn't Burke Devlin. Is that clear? It wasn't Burke.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you do as I ask?
It'll make me out to be a fool.
I know, Matthew, and I'm sorry, but it was all I could think of to say at the time. Will you help me?
You ought to know better than to ask me that. Of course I'll help you, Miss Stoddard. Anything you say, I'll help you.
Thank you, Matthew. You're a good friend.
I try, ma'am. Which is more than a few others can say.
What do you mean?
That young girl you brought into the house, that Miss Winters.
I've asked you to try and be friends with her, please. I've asked you before.
You also asked me to keep her out of the basement, didn't you? That's right, ma'am. She's down there right now, poking around, looking for who knows what. Well, I asked her to leave, but she wouldn't.
I thought I asked you not to come down here.
I was looking for books for David.
I know. Matthew told me. He also told me you were trying to get in that room.
Did he tell you what I heard last night?
Yes, but that's no excuse.
Mrs. Stoddard, there's no such thing as a ghost. And I heard crying. I told Matthew I thought it came from in there.
I know what you told Matthew, precisely. And I also know what I told you, not to come down here. Now, I believe you were looking for some books for David.
Have you ever heard that sound?
I've heard the wind, Miss Winters. I've heard the floors creak and the shutters bang. Yes, I've also at times heard crying in the night.
Where does it come from?
This house, Collinwood. There are 40 rooms here, most of them not in use. And occasionally the wind blows through an open window in the deserted wing.
But I heard it down here in the basement.
The same pipes that carries heat can carry sound.
What about that room?
That's only a storeroom, and there's nothing in there of importance. Certainly no one crying in the night. I'm the only one that has the key, so I should know. Now, I think that should end our discussion. What books were you looking for?
The Rover Boys.
Oh, yes, I know exactly where they are.
I still can't believe that sound wasn't real.
Sorry I had to make that phone call.
Oh, that's all right.
Mr. Sam Evans, he's going to paint my portrait.
I heard about it.
He's a funny guy. Tried to talk me out of it, even now. You wouldn't know why, would you?
Me? I have enough trouble finding out why I do things without worrying about other people.
That's a very pretty ring. Is it a birthstone?
Yes.
You nervous about something?
Of course not. I'd like some more coffee.
All right. What's the matter? Please have 2 more coffees, please, and some cream. Okay? Well, what's on your agenda for today?
I thought I'd leave that to you.
Me?
Well, I mean, I thought I'd offer my services as a guide to show you some of the things that are built up in the Collinsport area while you're away.
You mean like the war memorial, the new housing project, the new roads, and other fascinating things?
Burke Devlin, you're making fun of me, and I don't like it.
All right. Serious. Thank you for asking me, but... Well, I'll have to take a rain check. Posing for my portrait this afternoon, remember?
Well, how about later this afternoon?
No, I have a business appointment.
Burke, you're just trying to avoid me.
I don't see how I can. Or want to. Thanks. Tell me, do you always make friends with your family's enemies?
You're nobody's enemy.
How do you know? Remember, the Count of Monte Cristo returned for revenge and retribution.
Do you have to have a business appointment this afternoon?
Yes.
Where?
I have to drive up to Bangor.
Then why don't I go with you?
Miss Stoddard, you shocked me.
There you go, making fun of me again. It's broad daylight. I'm not a child, and I just want to get to know you better.
Why?
Why? Always why. Yes or no, that's all.
No.
Why? Seriously, Burke. It'd be a ball. We could have lunch. I know a great place in Bangor.
And you could show me the war memorial and the new housing
I hate
project.
you. So help me. I really do.
Carolyn. Sweet Carolyn. I'd love to spend the afternoon with you. But I have a business, and it's personal and private. And a little girl with lovely blonde hair would be completely out of place.
Probably has something to do with my family. Besides, I'm not a little girl.
Maybe not, but you needn't make a point of proving it.
That was nasty and uncalled for, Burke. And just for that, the next time you want to speak to me, you'll have to call me.
I may surprise you and do just that.
You won't surprise me at all. Thanks for the coffee and the donut. When you decide to call, I'll be at home.
Telephone call for me. Who from?
Mr. Calder.
Ned Calder? Oh, I've been waiting for that call. Why didn't you tell me?
Well, Mr. Collins answered the phone. It was at about 2 in the morning. I guess he didn't want to disturb you.
Well, I was so anxious to talk to him. Was there a message?
I really don't know. You see, Mr. Collins and I were having a kind of an argument about my being down in the basement.
You mean he was up last night when you heard that sobbing sound? What did he say?
About the sound? Nothing much. He said it could have been the wind or a ghost or... He didn't really say.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Winters. Now I think you better go upstairs and get David started with his lessons.
All right.
Operator, I want long distance. Portland, Maine. Person to person. To Mr. Ned Calder.
Cup of coffee, please.
Don't I know you?
Yeah.
Matthew Morgan, you work up at Collinwood.
Yeah. I want it black.
Don't you remember me? I'm Burke Devlin.
I remember you, Devlin. Important thing is, you better remember me.
Why's that?
Because if you bring any trouble to Miss Stoddard, I'm going to kill you.
I really think you mean that, don't you?
Yeah?
But what if they deserve trouble, Matthew? I mean, that would make a difference, wouldn't it?
You heard what I said.
But suppose they ask for trouble. Suppose they ask for problems you want to keep away from Mrs. Stoddard.
Nobody at Collinwood's asking for problems, Devlin. Nobody.
Hello, everybody. I'm home again. Hi. Hi, Vicki. How's the tutoring business?
Oh, it'll be fine once I get my pen filled.
Carolyn Stoddard to the rescue. Voila.
Thank you.
Say, if the telephone rings, don't anybody answer it. It'll be for me. I hope.
Okay.
See, I just happened to leave my ring somewhere, and I'm waiting for someone to call and tell me he found it. Listen, if you want a whole bottle of ink, I think there's some in the study. Now, if I really have to change, I just might be taking a trip to Bangor this afternoon.
Carolyn. Can I ask you a question?
Anything. Anything at all.
You remember that sobbing I told you about?
You heard it again last night.
How did you know?
Because I heard it, too. I hope you had the good sense to stay in your room. That's what I always do.
But when I told you about it before, you said you'd never heard it, that I must have dreamt it.
I didn't want to frighten you away. But now that you're one of us... Oh, sure, that ghost lady sobs. I've heard it off and on for most of my life. But right now, I couldn't care less.
But where does it come from?
Ghosts, Vicky. Ghosts! And like all the rest of us kooks, you'll just have to get used to it. I really must change.
Miss Winters, I see my answers still don't satisfy you.
It's not that. It's just that it's so hard to believe.
And you won't be satisfied until you're convinced there's no one hidden in that storeroom.
I don't know what to say.
Well, here's the key. If you doubt my word, take it and look for yourself.
I didn't say I don't believe you.
But what are you saying, Miss Winters? Here's the key. Take it if you wish.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Stay tuned for Where the Action Is next on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.